Hello to all our dear students. Welcome to the Bajirao IS Academy. Before starting our editorial discussion, let's play a game of interaction. As you all know, we on the daily basis try to observe certain practical issues that caters into our society. Okay, and you are given certain post and you have to create ideas and provide solution. Okay, and this will help you in solving case study. So these are practical approach. You will apply your mind in solving the crisis. Okay, so here in today's discussion, suppose you became the prime minister of India. Okay, and you know the responsibility of prime minister, very wide responsibility in terms of tackling economy, in terms of tackling the societal issues, and in terms of tackling international relations. Okay, all of that, because prime minister represents the executive head of the government. Okay, and he or she is first among the equals, as you all know. So after becoming prime minister, you observed alarming education status of youth in India. And what are some data? Like you know that we have huge human potential. We have number one in terms of the demographic dividend, that is the youth section. And you can take the data 27%, that is about 35 crore population in India that belongs to 15 to 29 years of age group. That means either these population are studying or they are completing an educational background or a graduate degree, all of that. Okay. And there is a alarming concern is that as per from the NSO report, National Survey Office, okay, only 10.6% of the population completed graduation. Okay, that means we have the higher number of youth population, but when it comes to the educational attainment with respect to the graduation, it is only 10.6%. And there is another alarming issue you can observe that 71% of adults do not have upper secondary education. That means they didn't had completed even the 12th standard. Okay, so that means there is a gap between the number of population which is younger and the educational attainment. So you have to tell me why this too much gap, and can you relate poverty and hunger linked to low human capital, and why in India we say that the unemployment is rising. There can be a scenario that because of low skill, because of low educational employment status is not becoming the qualitative in nature. Okay, so you have to identify the problems and try to relate the long term repercussions of these gap in our economy, in our society, in our political system. Okay, and try to find solution, and you can consult with your team members, with experts, to get certain another dimension of this crisis. Okay, try to become limitless in this type of thinking. It will expand your thinking power. Okay, so now we are shifting to editorial discussion, and today we have the three articles in discussion, and we didn't told you that here you have to provide me the solution in the chat box. Okay, try to comment, try to be interactive. This will help in be getting confidence in public speaking, whether it is public speaking or interview, because interview preparation runs simultaneous. Okay, you cannot ignore this part because this part also contains huge weightage in terms of selection procedure. Okay, so now coming to the editorial discussion, today we have three articles in discussion. The first one is related to the old censorship on a new medium. Actually, this article is talking about, like, we are seeing the Uttarkashi tunnel incident. Okay, and the media, they are much highlighting the rescue effort. That's a good one, but the media is not highlighting the lacunas, the weakness that the project has gone through, and because of all these incidents occurred. That means we hadn't highlighted the negative points of the government. Okay, so that's the point. And how with the digital penetration is increasing with respect to the internet and mobile phones, the government regulation is also increasing to curb the freedom of expression, okay, or to curb the negative critics against the government, all of that. So we will be elaborating in a detailed manner. The second article is related to the fleet electrification. We know that pollution is becoming a crisis, and they are damaging the health, they are damaging the economy, okay, and we are trying to promote the reduction in the fossil vehicles, okay, but what we are not doing, or itself a challenging one, is like e-trucks, okay, that means the electric trucks, because these electric trucks do contribute significant amount of the GHG emission, greenhouse gas emission, and even the particulate matter, okay, but we are not focusing on this. However, the achievement of the government steps is very good, but we need to do more, okay. So the major focus of this article is the e-trucks, promoting e-trucks in India, okay. We will be elaborating. The third article is also related to the Uttarakashi tunnel accident, and here the focus is like the issue related to the Himalayan ecosystem. Like we are promoting too much infrastructure, like roadway, like the tourism, okay, and these all are damaging the ecosystem of the Himalayas, because Himalayas are ecologically fragile region, okay, and any excessive development or infrastructure boost up may damage the Himalayan region, as we are seeing in the recent incident, okay. So we need to take care of the carrying capacity, and also we need to ensure that the process which is done for the environment impact assessment, this should be done in a correct manner. It should not mean that if there is a government project, so to attend it, that means we can compromise with the process of the environment impact assessment and other process mechanism, okay. So that's the point which is being highlighted, we are going to discuss. So before starting our discussion, we have the question for the prelim session, and this is the question related to the PYQ, and you have to solve it, okay. This is easy one, but try to focus on the question. The question is, consider the following statement. Statement 1, the minimum age prescribed for any person to be a member of panchayat is 25 years, whether it is correct or not. Statement 2, a panchayat reconstituted after premature dissolution continues only for the remainder period, and you have to choose the correct statement. Kindly mark with the circle or underline it whether it is asking about correct or incorrect. This will help you in preventing silly mistake in the examination hall, because that time the pressure of the examination is very high, okay. To make wrongs, there is a higher chances, so try to be sure, okay. Like you can mark this, or you can encircle the correct or incorrect, okay, and tell me the answer in the chat box. Otherwise we will be providing you the answer in the last session of our discussion, and this is easy one, and you can get it from the M Lakshmikant or the standard books you refer it, okay. So let's start with our editorial discussion. The first article we have already dealt with, GS paper 2, and first of all, you know the incident that on 12th of November, okay, the tunnel collapse occurred in Uttarakhand, and 41 workers are still trapped, and you can observe that about 12 days already spent. But when we talk about the resolution, no solution is still visible, okay. Experiment is going on, but the challenges are much more deeper, okay. So when we talk about the tunnel, it is a part of Char Dham all-weather road project, and when we talk about Char Dham, so it is a religious connectivity project that will connect the four most important pilgrimage sites of the Hindu community like Yamunotri, Gangotri, Kedarnath, and Badrinath. Okay, so that's the point. And in this article, there is an important point to be highlighted. Like, there should be questions to be raised in this issue against the government, like if such incident can be prevented if proper environmental studies were taken out. That means environmental clearances was undermined here. Okay, and along with faulty public works and civil contracting seems to be visible. Okay, and hence the new channels are also not questioning the government. Okay, so here the point is, why there is not questioning against the government, why there is the not criticism. Okay, so here the story of gross negligence is being transformed into a story of heroic rescue, how we are rescuing. Okay, so that is a good thing that we are rescuing the people, but that is a bad thing that we are not criticizing the government. Why? If certain fragile region was there, so why we are promoting or pushing the infrastructure project in a fast manner? Okay, so that's the point. And again, what we are seeing, that there is a narrative change by the television media. And why this is narrative change? There can be the ideological partisanship, there can be the economical models, there can be threat, okay, to the media persons, all of that. And also we have the regulations which are being brought from the side of the government, okay, to control the media and the entertainment landscape. Okay, so this shows a common feature of command and control media landscape. Okay, that means what the government wants, you will showcase, and what goes against the government, you will not showcase. That's the point. Okay, and however, with respect to the innovation in the digital arena, we have seen that the content and diversity of the content, okay, the criticism against the government was started more, was reflected more on the world of internet. Okay, but by understanding that people are moving to the digital platform, the regulations is also becoming more tighter and becoming visible in the digital arena itself. Okay, so that's the point. And you can observe that broadcasting services regulation bill 2023 was brought. Okay, although this bill talks about that it is going to replace the Cable Television Network Regulation Act 1995, but indirectly it ensures that more government control over the media or the digital media. Okay, that's the point which has been highlighted. And there is increasing government powers in the control of the content or the delivery of the content with respect to the certain bills which is being passed in the current times, in the recent times, like Indian Telecommunication Bill 2022, along with the recent three bills which was like replacing the IPC, the CRPC, or Indian Evidence Act. Okay, so indirectly they are more increasing the government powers. Okay, and indirectly they are reducing transparency, accountability, and also eroding the fundamental rights. Okay, and you can observe that this Cable Television Networks Act 1995, why it was brought? It was brought because it was needed that time, because that time the propaganda spreaded by the Pakistani media, okay, along with the content of media which was showcased on the television, sometimes become against the culture of our Indian scenario. Okay, that's why this type of regulation was brought. But there is a certain criticism of this as well, like who will enforce these acts or the rules? So the enforceability retains by the central government. That means the central government execute the act, implement the act, okay, enforces the act. Okay, and for that we have an interministerial committee, okay, to deal with the enforcement. But in this interministerial committee there is a lack of diversity. That means there is full of bureaucrats here, okay, that basically try to regulate. So diversity is lacking, okay. And also, when we talk about the certain recent rule like cable television network amendment rule 2021, they offers little check on primetime anchors who is attacking on the minority. Sometimes you see in the debate that the media anchors push certain questions that hampers the minority as well, okay. And when we talk about in the conclusion, the most important point is like even the journalist, okay, the critics, they are shifting to the digital platform, but the government is also increasing the control, like the recent broadcasting bill. It will also make easier for the government to target the journalists and the other critics, okay. And even the broadcasting advisory council, which is proposed to be created, it has also government bureaucrats and lacks diversity, okay. That means the experts and other stakeholders should be included, but there is not inclusion, okay. And at the last, this body is only advisory one, so ultimate enforceability left over to the union government. So that's the point which has been highlighted. And now we are shifting to second editorial, and it is related to the e-trucks, okay. Although government is promoting the electric vehicles, okay, the e-mobility, we are seeing that three-wheel electric vehicles is being flooded in the road, okay, along with the e-scooter or e-bike we are seeing. But when we talk about e-trucks, okay, so these are not penetrating much higher. You may not see e-trucks in India, okay, but you can see easily the electric scooter or three-wheeler electric cars, okay. So when we talk about the challenges related to e-trucks, why these are not penetrating in India? Because of certain factors. Number one, the price. For example, when you buy the diesel based trucks, it cost about 40 lakh, okay. But when we try to buy the electric truck, how much it will cost? Try to guess. Yes, it is about 1.5 crore. Okay, so that's the point. And to buy electric vehicles, electric truck, it becomes very costly, along with other issue like charging infrastructure. If a truck is going, okay, by loading certain goods, and let's say that in the pathway the charging has been finished, okay, so what that driver will do if there is not the charging infrastructure? So that's the problem. And also, if there is a charging infrastructure, let's say at the petrol pump there is a charging facility being provided, but it needs to be recharged faster and faster to continue their mobility, otherwise they have to wait for the longer period. That is also one of the challenge, okay. So these issues needs to be handled, and for that government steps need to be taken off, okay. And why in this article there is being talking about the promotion of e-truck? It is all because to reduce the particulate matter, that is particulate matter 2.5, particulate matter 10. Tell me the difference between pm 2.5 and pm 10, okay. So these basic question may become into the prelims question as well, okay. So these are significant contributor of the urban smoke and the pollutants which cause health hazards, okay. And that's why there is a suggestion that we should increase the truck fleet in India. And you can observe that about 9 lakh new trucks are added annually, okay. And we have already 70 lakh trucks. So if 9 lakhs are added annually, that means they are being operated by the diesel fuel, okay. So these creates pollution, these create GHG emissions. Okay, and about 80% freights within India is carried by road. What do you mean by freight? That means the goods they carry. Okay, so the goods that can be carried within India can be railway, can be the roadway. Okay, so majority of the goods which is carried within India via roadway. Okay, so that means the the share of trucks carrying the freight is very much high, and also there is higher share of CO2 emissions via these trucks. You can observe here from the data that these trucks consume over one fourth of the Indian oil import and contribute to over 90% of road transport CO2 emission. 90%. It is not about 20-30%, it is 90%. That's why the traditional trucks, which is based on the fossil fuel, that should be shifted to the e-trucks, that is electric trucks. Okay, and in the coming future the number of trucks is going to increase because India is a developing economy. Okay, so as the production or the supply chain or the connectivity improves, the trucks that will carry the goods will be going to be increased. Okay, so we have to tackle it in a more dimensional way. Okay, and that's why there is a need to have a electric vehicle. And although we have did significant achievement in terms of the two vehicle electric bike or the three vehicle. Okay, but in this scenario, in the case of trucks, we have like challenges. Okay, so what will be the benefit of the e-trucks? You can observe the benefit. There are numerous benefits. First of all, it will reduce the import dependency on oil. Okay, and along with it will ensure energy security and sustainability as well. Because sustainability means what? We are respecting the environment. So that's the point. But there are challenges in terms of cost. Okay, as I have already provided you some data along with charger infrastructure. So there is a suggestion like public private finance projects should be ensured so that there can be the development of the charging infrastructure. Okay, and people can get loans in an easier manner. Okay, and also the point of subsidy or the tax rebate should be included to deal with the cost crisis along with green freight corridor. So the objective of green freight corridor is like the building charging infrastructure along the roadway. Okay, that is the very important point. And that's why if we are able to transit to e-trucks, we can create cleaner and healthier city for all. Okay, hope you understood this article. Now we are shifting to the third article, and third article is related to the Uttarakhand tunnel collapse. But here we have to explore this angle with respect to the environmental dimension. In the first article, we highlighted some of the points that why the media is not highlighting the critics against the government. And in this article we will be focusing that what we should be aware now so that these type of incidents should be prevented. So the major focus is like analyzing the carrying capacity and also monitoring the implementation of the project, whether it fulfills the environmental impact assessment or the process. Okay, so that's the point. So we have seen the recent collapse and many news. These are like pain situations among the people. Okay, how they were feeling and how they were observing all of these incidents. These are very sad news. And so what we have seen and what we are observing that in the Himalayan region, what we say like specifically Himachal and Uttarakhand, we are seeing huge developmental projects like road widening or creation of roads. Okay, railway tracks maybe in the coming future. So does these ongoing development project represent sustainable way of development? So if these projects were sustainable, so why did it collapsed? Why we see these type of damages in the frequent times? Okay, like we have seen the another incident in 2013, that is Uttarakhand flood crisis. Okay, so we need to understand that if we are promoting sustainable projects, then why these incidents are happening, and if it is not a sustainable project, then we should not promote it. Okay, and there are two major issues which has been highlighted in the Indian Himalayan region. One, it is the development model that we are promoting here. Okay, and these developmental model are exceeding the carrying capacity of the Indian Himalayan region. Okay, and when we talk about carrying capacity, it means the maximum population that the Himalayan region can withhold, so that there should be a balance between the nature and the human. Okay, otherwise if it exceeds the carrying capacity, the nature will not able to balance itself, and it will create havoc to the region and the damages we see. Okay, so that's the point. And when we talk about another issue, it is the processes. Okay, processes, like when we initiate a project in this Himalayan region, so there are process of mechanism to be followed, like environmental clearance. Okay, but maybe these processes are not being followed in a correct way. Okay, and these are going against the nature. And why there should be a higher concern in this region? First of all, we know that Himalaya is younger range of mountains. Okay, they have been formed in the tertiary period. Okay, and they are even more fragile in these time as well. Why? Because these are prone to earthquake. Okay, and the issue, the tunnel accident which happened, it was like nearer to the main central thrust of the Himalaya. When we talk about main central thrust, these are like faults. Okay, and if any earthquake comes, so these faults are very much vulnerable. And if there is a disturbances that occurs, so these region will be much more impacted, and we have seen. Okay, so that's the point. And you can observe how this environment impact assessment was manipulated to get clearances, environmental clearances of this project. Like, instead of conducting single environmental assessment, okay, it was broken into 53 sections. When we talk about this project, it is a 900-kilometer roadway project. Okay, so if we have done the environment assessment in a single manner, so we have to assess entire area or region. But when we have broken into 53 sections, so the assessment and the area of the assessment got shrink, and that's why we were not able to complete the environment impact assessment in a comprehensive manner. Okay, and that's why there is a suggestion, and suggestion is very very important. You can also write in the mains, like the carrying capacity. First of all, what we define as carrying capacity is the maximum population that the region can withhold. Okay, otherwise there can be the disbalance. So here, when we measure the carrying capacity, it should not be limited to the number of people on an living in an ecosystem. Okay, it should also have to take into account the total carrying capacity from the infrastructure aspect. Like, we are making road infrastructure, we are making connectivity infrastructure, or the hydropower projects. Okay, so this also adds burden to the ecosystem, to the environment. So when taking into consideration the carrying capacity, these infrastructural aspect needs to be considered. Okay, along with international protocols and monitoring processes should be adopted, which best protocols suited should be adopted also. Along with, there can be the inclusion of geological experts, because this region requires the geological experts to be a part of the member, to be part of the committee. Okay, so that better solutions can be highlighted here. So it should be included, they should be included in every phase of decision making. And don't forget the role of local community, because local community are well aware of the the regions. Okay, and they are well aware of the threats. Okay, so their response should also be taken care of the local community or the local association or the organization. Okay, so that's the point. And here, the point is we are trying to complete the project in a time bound manner. But what is the benefit of that project? Even it gets completed in a time bound manner, but in the nature's havoc, it gets collapsed. Okay, like we are seeing that we have a target to complete Char Dham Yatra project. Okay, but in completing in a fast mode, we are seeing these incidents, and who bears the cost? The cost is being bared by the human, the workers, okay, and the nature itself. So we need to balance our development, okay, otherwise our development can lead to disaster as well. So that's the point. And now coming to the solution. So the solution of the question is the second, because when we talk about the minimum age prescribed for any person to be a member of panchayat is not 25 year, it is 21 years. Okay, first of all. And when we talk about the second statement, yes, it is true that a panchayat reconstituted after premature dissolution continues only for the remaining period, and after that the fresh election will be conducted. Okay, so hope you understood. And when we talk about the state legislature election or the Lok Sabha election, but here the scenario becomes different. Like in these state legislation election or the Lok Sabha election, if there is premature dissolution of the house, so fresh election will be happen. And if the election got result, so total 5 years will be given to run the government. Okay, so that's the point. So kindly note the difference. Hope you understood this article. We will discuss another aspect in tomorrow's lecture, and kindly solve the case study. Okay, solving the case study will boost your confidence. So thank you, friends. Thank you very much. If you have any doubt, please ask in the comment box. Thank you.